Okay. Okay, so here we go. We all probably at this point have a website, right? So I'm not here today to convince you to get a website, but just like a person can physically sit in a room while being checked out mentally, so can your website be present online yet remain disengaged from the life of your church or organization. So what I would like to do this evening is just share with you some tips for making your website, bringing your website into the present, and give you some resources that can help you along the way. And I would love it if we could engage throughout this. I may ask some questions, so don't be shy. Just feel free to pop in and answer. So first of all, I'm asking this question: why does a website matter? Can someone give me maybe just one or two words as to why a website matters today?
It's a tool for communicating with others.
Yeah.
It's often the face of your church for people who are either that or Facebook. That's how people find churches today.
Yes, very true.
It tells people the mission of the church, and also, I think, even more importantly, the culture of the church.
Yeah, absolutely. So people are getting an idea of your church based on your website. That's your first presence, your first impression almost in the world. So a good way to think of it is your website as a story. It's your chance to tell your story to people who may not know you yet, or people who may have heard of you from somebody in the community or somehow. You have a chance there to tell your present journey, taking visitors on, the story of your history, what you stand for, your values, and also how they can get involved, whether they've been members for a while or they're new. So another thing is that it increases access. So they say that if it's not online, it doesn't exist. We've probably heard that a time or two. So that we got someone joining us. So it just provides a way for people to have some access to the life of your church and what you offer. And also, it is a way for people who, excuse me, it's a way for people to get an idea, right, of who you are. And so even if you have someone giving you a personal invitation, so that's a way that a lot of people today decide to go to church, is because their neighbor or someone that they know invited them. But what they're probably going to do after that invitation is go and search for the church online and look at what they might be getting into. So it's sort of the welcome mat for your church, your website. And then the last thing here is that it gives you some credibility. So think of it in the way that, like a job interview, there's a big difference between showing up in sweatpants and showing up in a nice outfit, right? So it's just a first impression a lot of times. So y'all were really good. Y'all had some good answers there. So the next question: what makes a website good? What are some things that y'all think people might be looking for when visiting a church website?
When are the services? How can you be involved? What special things are going on? What does it look like? How do I find the church?
Yes, all of those things.
I think the story of the church, they want to hear a story. So they want to see pictures. They want to know if what already exists is something that they could easily belong to.
Right.
Yes. And so they're seeking something when they get on there. And it's really important for the website to be easy to navigate, which means to have good menus and things that are a little bit intuitive. You have about 5 to 10 seconds is what the standard statistic is, that someone stays on a website looking for the information that they need, and maybe even less, depending on attention spans and how those go these days. So making your menu items very clear is very important. So it's great to be creative and get cute, but you don't want to sacrifice your clarity for cuteness, right? When it comes to your menu items. And another thing, make sure that your information is up to date. If you had different times for Easter, make sure you go in there and change those back to your normal service times within the next week or so. Does someone have a question? I thought I heard something. Okay.
Well, I was going to say how important it is for it to be current. Nothing's worse than going to a website and trying to find out when the Holy Week services are and they don't have anything up there. And, you know.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Making something special, just a little thing on the homepage or an extra bar at the top can really help with things like that. And it might be temporary, so make it easy to remove as well. And also,
I think we need to think about the fact that a lot of people they don't have good internet access, or they might be viewing on a phone. So all this pretty, videos and all those things sometimes are harder for people to find what they need to know because it's the website's so pretty.
Yes, absolutely. Make sure that you check your mobile view as well as the desktop view, because a lot of the builders that we use have the desktop view and you make it really nice. But then when you look at it on a phone, everything gets screwy a little bit. So make sure you're checking the mobile view as well. And a good rule of thumb for that is to make everything a single column if you are designing the website, to make sure that things can stack easily and not to use multiple columns of things unless your graphical user interface allows you to do columns that will automatically rearrange into a single column. So a little bit more on that later. And so, yeah, other things, good visuals. You want to keep it simple and keep your fonts and colors consistent across the website. You may have certain pages that have their own design, but just keep your branding in mind when you're doing the website to be consistent, because that's the face that you're putting into the world, right? And so another thing is just to be engaging. People will stay on your website a little bit longer if they can click into things. So make sure that you think about adding some links to your pages. On your home page, have some quick links, and on other pages, make sure that people can easily get back to where they were. Just little things like that can make your website more engaging. And like Caroline was saying, pictures are very good. People want to see the space that they're going to be entering, and they want to see some of the activities and some of, they want to see people in the place as well. Oh, and last thing, a link to the diocesan website is always wonderful. We can help each other out. Okay, before we get into this, any questions at this point? Yes. Okay. So this slide is just kind of an example of what you could include. You may not have all of these things, but just some important things to remember. Like I said, your homepage, make your service times viewable within 5 seconds. So even if it's not right at the top, if you scroll once, you should be able to find those service times, if it's a church website especially. And also on the front, a value statement is always good, just to say, now this is what our church is about. And so when you get into things like the about page and the worship, if people are coming to a church from a different denomination, they may want to know what to expect. You know, a lot of people are coming to the Episcopal Church from other places that are less liturgical. So it can be a little bit overwhelming if they don't know what the service is like. And so just adding a little bit of information about the liturgy and how we do communion and things like that can be helpful to people and can be a really welcoming thing. Another thing is what people can expect to do with their children when they come to church. Even if your church doesn't have very many children, at least acknowledge that children are welcome in the service. Just to say something about the part of church where children might be expected to go and what parents can expect when they get there with their kids. And obviously live stream link, that's important if you have that. And like Carolyn was saying, the information about outreaches and getting involved. So they're just, it seems like a lot, but there are ways to kind of simplify that and put some of these things together. We're going to look at some examples here in a second. And the other thing, have a give button where people can easily find how to donate to the church. Especially these days, a lot of people like to do that, set it up online, make it an automatic thing. So it's important to have that right up front in your top menu or somewhere that's pretty accessible so people can find that. So in anyone's experience, are there other things that you would say about menus or what to include on your website?
You had mentioned link to the diocese. We've got the link to the diocese, the link to the national church.
Yes.
Folks have expressed not an interest in using the link, but just the fact that it's there, because many times I will indicate something's going on in the diocese, so go to diocesewnc.org and you'll get further information on it, particularly with regards to diocesan convention.
Yeah, that's great. And we always appreciate that.
I would say that an expectation of like how you'll be greeted and what to expect when you're a visitor.
Yeah.
We have a link for community resources, how to find medical and those kinds of things in our community.
Oh yeah, that's great. Okay, so I have some examples to show. Let me get that. Okay. All right, so this page here is, hold on, sorry, I lost it. There it is. This is from a church in Ohio. This is their what to expect page. So I'll scroll down here a little bit. It's very, very detailed. So they say every part of the service and what they do there. and everything from coming in and getting settled to the offertory to the Eucharistic prayer to, yeah, so they have very detailed paragraphs of description of what to expect. So for some people, they really respond well to that. A lot of people want quick information to be able to read it a little bit faster. So there's a happy medium. And this is a church in our diocese. This website was just redone, so that's why I'm showing it to you. They have their service times right at the top. That looks really good. And then right down here, they have a little bit about worship and what to expect. Follow along, ask somebody if you need help, and they have information on their food pantry. So, and here are their menus. They have their leadership, history, connect, and then there's their give button, and their food pantry is in their top menu. And another example, this is a church in Chicago. See, they have, this is their value statement right there. And then they have some events listed. I'm scrolling, it's almost been 5 seconds and I haven't seen, there's the services right there. Okay, we're good. So they have those a little bit down the page, but they're still present on the home page and you can find them pretty easily. And then let's see this one. Just another example. See, they're saying right up front that they're an affirming community, an inclusive community. So that's very important to them. So if it's important to you, then you're going to know that right up front. And they have some boxes of their different things that they do. And then one more example, last one here is this church that has services in 2 different places. This is their homepage. So they have very simple statement, you're forgiven, yes, you. And then here are their service times. Sunday school and nursery programming info, live stream right there, upcoming events. So there, like I said, there are a lot of different ways to do it, and it depends on what's important to your church or organization and what you're doing currently as well. So that's part of being present, is keeping it in the present and making sure that you're keeping everything updated. All right, so with all of that in mind, let's go back here and we'll do a little activity. So take some time just by yourself, pull up your church website, and with all of that in mind, look at your menus and your homepage and just think about it, maybe sketch some ideas out. And we'll take about 7 minutes to do that. right, we've got about 1 minute left.
Well, my website says the page isn't working and I tried reloading, so it didn't let me in there.
Oh, no.
Then it says you should clear your cookies. So I went to find out what cookies there are and it didn't seem to indicate anything. So I got to call up my webmaster and have him fix it because he's one of those that knows how to do that stuff.
Well, I'm sorry it didn't work for you. Were you able to get anything written down?
I saw the front. We've only got a few pages, and so the front page that had all the information and all that's got a one view of the church, and then another picture is our front doors are actually on the side of the building, so it's got a picture of that, and then it has listed of the times, the English service, the Spanish service, and then I tried to go in and change something, but it wouldn't let me in, so
Oh.
I'll have to get him to figure it out.
Get your website whiz.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
noticed
So,
a section of our website that's not showing up on the cell phone, which is odd, and I can't figure out why that part's hidden. I've hidden certain things to make it, I want the cell phone to be an easy thing to get information. It doesn't need all of the extra pictures and slides and all that. So
Yeah.
I'm missing piece that I didn't notice until now, which is good because I update it at least once a week, sometimes more often, but that's just odd.
yeah, it's always good to go in and just do an audit yourself sometimes. I do that occasionally for the diocesan website, and usually there's something that you want to change. So I'm going to put us into groups and y'all talk about what you just found out, how you use your site, and just brainstorm a little bit. So let me do some breakout groups.
You know, right,
Go ahead, Tony.
Both my websites down here are not, both our websites are not good. We don't have webmaster in each place, but the Episcopal Church used to have guidelines for what to do. And then one of the things is not to feature the priest prominently like that, and to make the church showing activity that people like. I think Amelia had said that it should reflect the church, so it should reflect activity and action. And so we have people that go to the website, but a lot of people go to the Facebook page to see all that. And they want to see, like, what do you do? How do you interact? And so there's a balance, I think, with what do you have on the website? Because sometimes that's more static than Facebook. Both our pages down here haven't been updated since I was called. So I just need to get on that. I know that when I was in Gastonia and I was looking at both parishes, when I moved there as layperson, I looked at both parishes and I saw more action on one site than the other. And that made a big difference for me as a layperson. You know, things that I was interested in.
Letting people see what you're up to is important. That a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? What if the website that I showed you with what to expect just had visual representations instead of paragraphs? So all good things to think about. I hope you all had a wonderful conversation there. And I have one more piece to share with you on websites before we go into the asset map. So let me get this started again. All right, so I wanted to share just a little bit about the costs and say a little bit here. about the technical stuff. So you see this information here, usually your hosting and your domain, those are separate than, say, if you build a website through Wix, you might get your domain through GoDaddy or something like that. And what's important, what's very, very important, is to have that information accessible. So connect it to an email that is going to stay with you, something like your rector@ email, instead of somebody's a volunteer's Gmail account. Don't ever do that. So you want to make sure that you can access that and update the payment information, whatever you need, so that you don't lose your domain. And just the ability to have that is very, very important. So if you hire a web designer, you can do that, and there's the cost there that varies widely. So if you were wanting to do a full redesign, that is an option. And so your website builder plans, those are things like Wix and Weebly, Squarespace. They come with what we call a graphical user interface, a GUI, that is very kind of do it yourself. You can drag and drop your strips and images and things like that. That makes it easy to do that. A lot of those have the hosting and domain included. So there's a link there for more information about that. And if you need some help with costs, especially the cost of a redesign and designer, the Congregational Vitality Grant is a great way to do that. That won't cover your hosting and domain fees, no recurring costs, but something to give you a refresh. That grant can cover that. So,
Rachel, one thing that I would add to that is that when we went to have the redesign done on our site, we stressed to our designer that we hired that we wanted to be able to control it. We wanted to be able to, I post all of the bulletins. Yeah, every Sunday there's a bulletin link, there's hymns links, there's YouTube links, and those change every week. And so we wanted to be able to do that within the parish.
yeah.
And that they really helped us do that, and took someone who didn't know anything and taught this old dog a bunch of new tricks. And I would stress that any church can do that. You just need to tell them that up front, that you want to be able to do it at the parish level, and then you have control over it. There are a lot of times I'll get a question that's above my pay grade, and I have to go to them and say, hey, I'm trying to do this, can you help me? And they're more than helpful at that point, but
Yeah.
those are fewer and fewer between needing now.
Yeah, if you
Yes.
hire a designer, it's a really good idea to request, like you said up front, them to sort of show you how to do some basic things yourself, just so that you know how to get into it, how to update at least the text and pictures, so that you are equipped. They can help to equip you with those skills. Yeah. So is there another question or comment?
I don't have a question, but I do have an aha of just how important it is that your whole comment about you've got 5 or 10 seconds to capture someone's interest is like, and I really feel like pictures and then Sunday service times, and then everything else is a link.
Yeah. And
I feel like the bigger, the better. Right now we have a lot of information. It's really beautiful. I mean, it's great, but it's more like a newspaper as opposed to like an Instagram.
yeah,
Or,
we're really used to getting small bites of information these days.
Yep.
So you have, that's part of being present and staying in the present, is to consider how we're consuming information. People don't really want to stay around to read a whole lot. Some people will, though. If someone is maybe just a reader type person, they might read your history page that has 500 words. But most people in general, they want something that's quick that they can understand within that time frame. So thank you for sharing that.
It's interesting also, like for my website, I can go and see who travels there, where they come from, how long they stay. And it's been interesting. Lately, we're in our search for a rector, and we have been for a while. So our website is continually having to change because we've had supply priests, and now we have our second interim priest, and we're just moving through all of that. And I keep it all up, which is no problem for me because I can do it from home. But what's been interesting is seeing how many hits are now coming from the Episcopal News Service, and where people are looking and how long people are staying on the site when they come. So it gives you a lot of information. Also, it tells you what pages they're looking at.
Yeah.
So you can see if they've been on are they clicking somewhere else? Are they viewing your videos? What are they, service videos? So that's also good information. If you're not aware of that, I'm not sure.
I would second that, in that when we redesigned Grace's website, it was with the full intention of finding a new rector. We went into it with that thought, and it worked. But what I'm saying is that once we had, what was beautiful about it was that we had to go through this process of figuring out what we wanted to put on the website for a new rector to look at, to see who we were. And that then became almost the parish profile. And so the parish profile that goes out and the website were just melded together so that they went hand in hand and contributed to each other. Yeah, I mean, and worked. Obviously, it worked really well.
And being able to look at those analytics is very important, because you can see which pages are engaging to people, which pages get the most traffic. So you can sort of determine and discern where to put some of your focus and
that was the disappointing factor, Rachel, was that the interest level crashed after that or whatever, because we were getting a lot of people who were spending a good bit of time on the site, and now they're looking for a specific piece of interest and they find it and they're gone.
Yeah.
And
They
so
find it, that's good.
Yes, they do find it, and that is good. I also think that times have changed, and I would love, Rachel, if there's ever a time we could have another meeting on social media, just in general.
Yeah, that's the next workshop.
Oh, well, fabulous. I'll be there. So we're actually getting ready to apply for one of the Vitality grants to hire somebody to do a revamp for us, because we don't have, and not for our website, but for social media, Instagram, TikTok. We make a lot of videos at Grace, but they aren't put out in any other way except for through our website. And so I think part of the reason why the website traffic is going down is that TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and those are picking up. I have zero interest in learning how to do those things. I don't care. But I do want Grace to know how to do those things. So we're looking at getting money to hire somebody to do that for us and create a content bank so that we can go in and just shoot things out all year. We can handle that once the bank is created, but we need somebody to create a bank for us. So we're excited about that.
Awesome. Yes, we'll be talking about that in workshop 3.
Oh, good.
That's happening next month. And I'll send out the information for that. So, well, we have a little bit of time. I'd really like to just show you the brief synopsis of this asset map. Our you familiar with the asset map? Is anyone here familiar with it? Okay, cool. A little bit. So what it is, it's a thing that Episcopal Relief and Development has made as sort of, as your website is a welcome mat for your church, the asset map can be a welcome mat for your website. So it's used by also the national church to connect ministries and connect churches in different ways. So let's take just a quick look at the map. And let me reshare the page. Okay. So this is the asset map. Since we're running out of time, I'm going to show you very quickly how to make an update to your page. So click up here, you find Western North Carolina, and I'm going to say churches. And there we are. That's everything here. So if I were to go in here and click on, this is St. Mary's, go into more details, say that I'm the admin at St. Mary's. I go in here and I say, oh man, we've updated our Sunday worship time to 8:30. Okay. And we have a Spanish service now or something like that. You go to suggest an update and you fill out some stuff. I'm the one who approves it. So you go in here and you change maybe the description, worship, here's the worship time. You're going to click the edit. One thing to note is that you don't have to save and submit between these. So you can wait until you're completely done with your changes and then save and submit, which just keeps it a little easier for me to see all of them at once. And the other just weird thing, if I were to go in here and say, edit this, to put the fact that you have a live stream on, you're going to go under worship language and say live stream. So at that point, you would save and submit. I get an email and I go in and look. I'll probably email you back and say, hey, thanks for making an update. I've approved your changes. Or if I don't, I'll tell you why. So yeah, that is the asset map. And just another thing, look at these. And if you have done something such as, dig a well for a place across the world, put that in here because it just helps the national church to know what everybody is up to. So I know that was very quick, but does anyone have questions about
Are you saying that I could go to this thing called the asset map and then change what I need to? Or is it something you do as a diocesan person?
Anyone can go in here and suggest a change. So
okay.
Yeah, you would.
Because I'm the one who can do that at the church.
Yeah. And so then
so Episcopal asset map. All right.
And then I get the changes. If someone goes in and changes something really weird or it just doesn't look right, I can reject the change. So
Rachel,
there's a level of security there.
Can you share the link to the asset map?
Yeah, I can put that in the chat, and I'm going to share the slides with everybody who signed up too. So it'll be there as well. And let me just drop that.
And it's just episcopalassetmap.com, right?
It's .org.
Or
Yeah.
.org.
And that's the link to our diocese.
Great. Thank you, Rachel.
And anyone, feel free to send me an email, give me a call here at the office. Anytime you have a question, I'm here for you. And I'm here to support you and help you connect with the information that you need.
Well, I just want to say before we jump off, Rachel, that in the last several months, I have really enjoyed the leveling up of our communication in this diocese. just the beauty of things and the clarity of things. And yeah, I just want to say how appreciative I am, because it's your
that-
footprint.
And I want
agree
to
with
say kudos to your treatment of the page for the convention. That is awesome. I mean, that is so, it's clear, and you just, the boxes, you click on the one you're interested in, and yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't take full credit, but I did a lot of updating this year. So
Yeah,
I'm
you did.
glad to hear that it is easy to navigate.
Well, even if you're just directing that, it's working.
Yes, thank you.
Well,
Good
thank
to
you.
see all of you.
Yeah, good to see you,
Yeah.
Richard. Good to see you, everyone. Good to see you, Tony.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
And the next workshop is August 10th here on Zoom. I will be sending out some more information about that in the next few days.
Good. Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Rachel.
Right.
Thank you for all
Have a
of
good
this.
night.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Mary.